All right, it's been a month. It's been a month and this thing hasn't been hit. I think it's because it's been so hot. Today was the first day the heat broke. I mean, it got up to like 93, 94. But still, I don't think I've had anything go 4 weeks. I might have a few years ago. But since this is the only bait I have out and this is a whole new section, I'm gonna try and keep it in the area because I want to drag this. Hopefully there's not a bunch of wasps up in there or anything. I'm gonna try and drag it several hundred yards that way and put it down in a more concealed, brushy spot where I can set a ground blind up or a tree stand way back and look down into it. So kind of silly. I probably should have done this a couple weeks ago, but you know, every week you're like, oh, it's gonna be next week. Oh, it's gonna, and then all of a sudden 4 weeks go by. But still, it's only first week of September, 2 more months of the season, brand new area. I'm not too worried about just having 4 weeks. I've got other hunting to do. This is kind of like a side project, try and feel out this section and find a good spot. So let's pull these branches out and see if I can drag this baby. All right, so I've got it stationed here. There's a ridge here with the game trails crisscrossing all through here. One go down the bottom, but it's so much more wrapped in vegetation. It's down this draw. So I had it over that ridge, a couple hundred yards that way, out on more exposed. So I could put a tree stand anywhere up in here, up in there if I cut a little something. And I can put a blind right up at the top up there through the trees and just trim out a little bit. Put a tree stand way up there for a rifle. So I've got multiple options and I think they'll feel more concealed in here. So something keeps stomping over there and snorting and wheezing at me. So I don't think it's a bear. So these things still look good after a month. They're all hardened up, but I can still smell it. So I'm gonna go grab my stuff, do a little bit of trimming, and then I got some scent stuff I'll show you. Okay, I've got this all set up. I'm trying to block the bears from going that way or trying to pull the barrel that way. I think I'm gonna put a ladder tree stand far back up in here, or I did push out some of the brush here. I think I might put it up in the far tree up there on the ridge and have a nice shooting lane right into this little opening here. Either that or I'll clear a lane here and set a tree ground blind up at the top. So another ridge there. I found my Northern something. This is the company, but this is Gold Rush. I think this is butterscotch. And I didn't grab any fryer grease, but I'm gonna try it with just straight oil. I couldn't find this for the first month because I bought it last spring and then never used it. And I finally found it. In the pantry back up on the shelf with all our like extra sauces and seasonings and stuff. So good thing I found it and nobody tried to drink it. So I'm gonna splash that up and hopefully that'll draw a lot of scent. There's a pretty good breeze going up this draw and heading back. So I'm excited about this spot. I think it's going to be much better. Temps dropped today. It's going to get down to 29 tomorrow night, 31 tonight, and then highs in the low 70s, 60s, and 50s for the next, I think from here on out. So first week of September, hopefully this is it. Let's get this up. So I've never used this Gold Rush. I just did a pretty strong mix into here, and man, I can barely get my nose near that. It's so pungent. So I'm gonna pour it all over this, splash it up into the trees, and hopefully that brings them in with the cool weather. One thing I did mess up on is I didn't bring a plastic bag to put all that in my hands. That stuff is pungent. I mean, it just reeks of butterscotch in here now. I splashed it up on the trees, poured it all over those logs, splashed it up on the trees. I forgot to set my game camera before I did that, so I was trying to touch it with a dry finger, and they'll probably maul my camera now because that stuff is rich and pungent. And it just smells like a butterscotch bomb went off in here. So I think they're gonna hit it, finally. Moved it 200 yards over the ridge. It was a doozy getting it over here, but I'm excited. Hopefully, I have to go out of town for a couple days, but hopefully I'm gonna go bow hunting, elk hunting with elk tomorrow, Saturday. Out of town for a couple days for work, and then I'll come back Wednesday and check it, see if it's been hit. I don't think I'm gonna cut my trail. I've got this stuff all over my boots, and I think I'm gonna go out a different way. Okay, I did go ahead and clear another lane in case I want to set up a blind here. So it's probably 60 yards from here. But I think the better option might be a tree stand in one of these tall trees for a rifle shot at like 70 yards or so. There's 2 lanes that look down in there, otherwise it's concealed. So you have to be standing right here or right in that one lane over there. Otherwise it's so thick around there you can't see down in there. So we'll see how it goes. 4th week, moved the bait site, and that was a lot of work. Took probably 2.5 hours. Lug the barrel over there, cut the lanes, get the barrel situated. But man, I could smell it so bad. When I walked back down in there about 30 yards out, it was just like boom, it hits you right in the face, and butterscotch. So, anyway, archery elk going on, grouse. I was hunting the last week, sandhill crane with my boy who had a tag, and then I'll sit this kind of as a second hunting option unless it gets hot, and then I'll dial in on it and give it a good week or 2 of sitting in the evenings and mornings early. So, nice and thick up in here. It should be nice and quiet right on the border. Hunters don't like hunting borders usually because you don't want to be nervous about where you stand. All right. Beautiful evening.